Hello teacher, hello students, welcome to today's lesson. I hope you've learned about the structure and performance of foreign trade in your previous non-plasma lesson. I also hope you've examined the performance and the relative share of commodities in Ethiopia's foreign trade activities. Today's lesson is on public versus private exports of Ethiopia. Students, what policy changes did the Derg government make in relation to ownership of factors of production? Discuss in groups. I am sure you've got the answer, as we had similar discussions in previous lessons. During the Derg regime, licensing policy aimed at limiting and restricting the participation of the private traders in the economy. The Derg government confiscated or nationalized private property and put a limit on the amount of ownership of private capital. Other policy restrictions during the Derg include trading activity was allowed only to proprietorship. Wholesaling was limited to the capital ceiling of 300,000 birr and retailing to 200,000 birr. Only one business license and one business undertaking was permitted to an individual. Establishing a branch was completely prohibited. License provision was tied to supply conditions. Students, the totalitarian moves of the Derg hampered the private sector development initiatives that had begun to thrive during the imperial regime. As a result, two important changes occurred. First, private sector participation in the export sector was marginalized, and second, government enterprises took the dominant role. Therefore, government enterprises got access to incentives and support from the government, while private sector participation in foreign trade was intentionally curtailed. For instance, the share of the private sector in total export earnings never exceeded 16%. Students, do you think the public enterprises were effective in promoting Ethiopia's exports and contribute to its development? If you think they were not, you would be correct. The public enterprises that were engaged in foreign trade were neither efficient nor effective. They were not different from other mismanaged and unproductive public enterprises that existed during that period. In fact, the public enterprises were leading the government to bankruptcy due to huge expenditures on them in the form of subsidies and other support mechanisms. Students, the situation continued until the Derg regime was overthrown by EPRDF forces in 1991-92, which led to economic reforms. Students, do you remember the major shift in economic policy that EPRDF-led government declared after 1991-92? Again, quickly discuss in groups and jot down the major shift in economic policy that the government declared after 1991-92.